Hello, today I want to go over how to create multiple actions for one character or object in Blender. This is Blender 5.0.1. This color theme is using the Moto color theme, which I believe you can get from the preferences and add-ons. If my colors are different from yours, but the workflow will be the same. So go over to the animation tab, and first you want to make sure that you are in the dope sheet, which is located by clicking this in here, and then clicking on Action Editor, and then we're going to click View, and then now we have our first action. The workflow I've discovered that works pretty well is having your first action called something like Start or Base. I like calling it Start Here, and the reason I like doing this is because when you have a action like this and you start here and you key your location rotation first, and you're going to want to do this on your finger, your bones, your IK handles, your elbow and knee controls, your eye controls, all of it. You're going to want to start here, hence the name. Start here, select all of your bones, all of your IK handles, all of your knees and elbows, and just key the rotation and location. If you don't do this step and you add some rotation and location on, for example, maybe like an idle, but you didn't key those on your run, you're going to have some additional animations that are not desirable because they're not keyed and they're just going to be doing whatever they want to do. So this step is very important, having a start here action, keying everything, and then now what you're going to do is duplicate this one, and then you can say walk or something. I did some tests earlier, which is why I have double, and I'll explain what this F in front of that means as well in a moment. So I started my start here, I duplicated it, and I made a walk. And then now I'm going to create my walk really quickly. So here, move it forward, key, come to my in-between, move it up, key that, and then now I got my walk. Okay, so with my walk created, I want to address a couple of things that this is a problem that Blender does. I don't know if it's a problem. I'm sure there's some reason behind it, but I don't understand it myself. It is critical that you click the shield where it says fake user, save this data block even if it has no users. If you do not click this and you save and quit Blender, Blender will just completely remove this action, and you don't want that. I've lost 3 animations now because I did not know I had to do this. So this is a huge, huge point about this video as well, is that you need to click this shield here. When you do, you will see that now there's this F in front of the walk. If you uncheck it, you see the F goes away. There's 2 other ways to do this. You can also come up to the Blender file window up here. You'll see actions, and then you'll see my walk one here, and you'll see that the shield is clicked. And you see right here, click to remove protection from deletion. So I want this enabled. And again, you can either do it here, you could do it here, and then now I'm going to talk about a third way. So Blender has something called a nonlinear animation editor. Before I do that though, I'm going to split this window down here in half. When your cursor changes from an arrow to a crosshair, left click and drag down, and then now you have a duplicate window. Click this and then go to nonlinear, and then now we have this window. Down here we have this stash push down action. When you do this, now it's protected from deletions. This is also a third way to protect your animations. Critical that, repeat that if you do not click this, Blender will delete all of these when you say save and close. I don't agree with this workflow, but it is what it is. So huge, huge, huge reminder, please click the shield here, click it here when you're working with your animation, or click it here. All 3 will work. My current workflow is to just press this push down because then I get a good clean view of all my actions, but just making you aware that this is a very critical thing. So these are called tracks, and if we click on the track itself, we see here on the right side that there is my walk action. This one I believe is my start here. Yep. So that's why that's there. I'll rename this as start here. I'll rename this as walk. And here it is. I can also rename this as well, I believe. Yep, I'll just call this walk. So the name of my action is walk.001. The name of my, I think this is called a track. I believe this is what this is called. No, a strip. This is called a strip. My strip is called walk, and my track is called walk. But the only thing that really matters in terms of animation is what this is called. So clicking on my strip, we see walk, and the name of the track is walk. Same thing for here. My start here, strip, the name of it, the reference and action is here, the start here action. So now let's say you want to do another animation. So remember, click on the start here, duplicate this one, now do idle, or whatever you want to call it. Now I will create my idle animation for my cube. I'll move ahead and forward in the timeline, and let's say I just want to do some weird rotation. Sounds good, and maybe a little bit further down, I'll do some other thing. And then let's say at 36 frames, it will loop back to how it should. And to quickly zero out, you can just mouse over and click delete, and it will zero out all of your animations. So let's take a look at this, pressing spacebar. Okay, that's my cube idle animation. If you want to see the loop, you can come on here on the right side where it says end, and I'm going to say 36 because that's where my last keyframe is. And pressing spacebar, now it loops. So again, critical step, pressing the shield here, pressing the shield up here, or what I like to do is just press this button down here. I'm going to call this idle. You can press F2, call it idle, and looking at my strip, it is pointing to my idle 01 action. So you may notice that the actions are not shown. What you can do, there's a couple of ways. You can come here and press, in this window, press tab. To edit, it will turn green. And then now you can come up here and look at your keyframes, but the action isn't playing, and I'm not sure why. I think I need to enable this. No, try it. There we go. Yeah, you needed to click this checkbox down here. So click tab, and let's say you want to push these closer together. Tab again, and then now they will reflect those changes. Something else you can do is just click on your cube and select your animation, and then you could also just edit this way as well. Both will work. All right, let's make one more. So let's do start here, duplicate this one, and now let's call this, how about Jim? So let's come here and let's go to frame 12. Maybe we'll do some an anticipation frame, and then do a very slow jump to frame 36 because why not? And then a little bit further, we'll land past, and then a couple frames later, we'll even out back at. Okay, great. So the last keyframe is on frame 54. Let's see how this looks. Here's my very slow jump animation. If I want to increase the speed of this, I can select these 3 keyframes and move it in. Let's see how that looks. There you go, that looks better. So my last frame now is at frame 35. Awesome. A workflow tip that I like to do is next to the name of the action, I like to put in my keyframe range. So I go from, it looks like we have frame 1 to frame 35. So I'll put that in 1 to 35. And then I'll do the same for my others. So let's see, idle goes from 1 to 35. No, 1 to, sorry, 36. So idle, 1 to 36. And then jump. We just did that one. Let's see, our walk. Our walk goes from 1 to 12. Jumping, walk, 1, 2, 12. So now when you export this to your game engine, you know that the frames that actually matter are these frames here. It's a nice little tip. I have some of these previous actions that are not relevant, so I'm just going to come in here and just delete these. I have an old start one, and I don't think that's the walk I want to use. Then I'll just rename this start here. I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup. And I didn't click the push down tab for my jump. If I didn't click this and I click save and exit, Blender would have deleted this jump that I spent all this time on. So come on here with jump action selected, push this. Now we see jump down here. I'm going to just rename it jump. And then F2. Then now we have my jump here. I think too, if I just click, there we go. Yeah, you can see, you can activate which strip to play by clicking this checkbox here. But it's not working for walk, and I'm not sure why. I'm sure someone could let me know. So big important thing there was to push that push down tab, and again, or click the shield here, or do it up here. So 3 ways to do one thing. And I wanted to make sure that that is clear in this video, how important clicking this, or clicking this is, and also how to create multiple actions for one character, because I had some trouble understanding what the difference between this and this is, where to do it, why I even need to do this, why my actions were being deleted, so on and so forth. I think this is an extra one down here. Let me see. Start here, and I'm looking right here. Start here. Yeah, this is a duplicate, so I'm just going to delete this and save my file. This is like a pending action. That's why this is here. This is just waiting to be pushed, but I don't want to do that right now. I don't think there's anything else. Maybe I'll talk about this really quick too. So if you have a big rig for a character, this is pointing towards where what object is using these actions. So my cube is currently using these actions. If you had a second object, so maybe we'll do the monkey, and if I click jump, I don't think this is going to work because the jump and idle actions are on the cube. And yeah, so this second one is pointing to the object that the animations are on. If I click on the monkey, even though we see the actions here, the cube is still what's selected on the right side. So just want to make sure that that's talked about. And if you see here, it says create a new action slot for this data block to hold its animation. Really, it's the last part, to hold this animation. This cube is holding these animations. This monkey is not holding these animations. So that's what this second tab is for. Actions and what's holding those actions. So I think that's it. I don't think there's also, if you look here at NLA, the cube, and all these actions, and then Suzanne the monkey has her own animations down here that we could also edit. So if you have multiple objects in one scene, this is kind of a great way to see it all. But if you're just working with one character in particular, and you just want to create, multiple actions for that one character, this is how you do it. So quick recap. Have a start here action where everything is at its base, your standard T-pose. Key everything that you're going to be animating for all your other animations, key them at location and rotation, then duplicate it, and then create your animations from there. Make sure to push the stash button, or click the shield, or click the shield up here to prevent Blender from deleting them. I think that's all. Thank you for watching. Take care.